This is my third time through this. It has failed to upload about 3 times, so I'm getting to know this story pretty well. My personal experience is about the time freshman year, whenever I was playing football in a practice, I got a concussion. So, just a year before, my brother was a senior at the same high school, and he was playing. It was his first game of senior year, and him and an opponent's their helmet just collided, and the impact caused him to get a concussion, and he was out of playing for the whole season. His injury would just sustained him that much. So just spending time around him when he had a concussion, I could notice that he was definitely slower and he wouldn't know the answers to questions that he should and normally would know the answers to. So I didn't really know what a concussion was before he had one, but I really learned a lot about it after that. So fast forward a year, it was early September, I think, and we had already had, I think, 2 football games, and it was just a regular practice during the week. Practice was starting to wind down. It was getting towards the end of the day, and we start doing this defensive drill. I don't remember exactly what the drill was called now, but basically we had a line of players, 2 lines of players, and one line was the offense and one line was the defense. And the offense basically just run a straight line while the defense would run a perpendicular line and tackle the offensive guy. It was just kind of a tackling formation drill. So my best friend, he steps up in line. His name is Cameron, and he steps up in the defensive line, and I'm up in the offensive line. So he runs his straight line, and I go to tackle him. Well, I'm about a foot taller than Cameron. So whenever I went down to tackle him, I got lower, and I hit his helmet head on, and the only thing I remember was seeing a flash of purple and then just intense sharp pain in my head. So I was down on my knees, and my first thought was that I had a concussion because my brother had one the season before, and it was always kind of on my mind. Uh, the coach comes up. I didn't even want to open my eyes because it hurt me so bad just to open them. I don't remember why, but yeah. So we walk back to the locker room, and it's about a good half mile from our practice field. Just a long walk, and I didn't want to open my eyes because it just hurt so bad. So I get back to the locker room, and the coach sits me down, and he gets our trainer, Jess. Well, Jess knows my brother from the season before, and she kind of knew what was going on, and she initially said that I had a concussion. So before the season, we had to take this test. They called it the concussion test, and it was just kind of like an IQ quiz, and they would take your scores when you were not concussed, and after your injury, they would test you again and see what the damage was. So I take the concussion test again, and I end up scoring at a kindergarten level, and yeah, so I obviously was hurt pretty bad. I was out of school for about 3 days. I was out of practice for about 3 or 4 weeks before I could practice again. I had to pass the concussion test before I could play again. So yeah, I spent about 3 days at home, and the headaches were bad for those 3 days. And for about a week or two after, I would have a headache about every day. So yeah, I couldn't even participate in gym class because I couldn't do any physical activity. I would go to football practice and I just had to watch. Um, it wasn't very fun at all. I had headaches for a long time, and I swear to this day that it affected my memory some because I just haven't been able to remember things like I used to before. So I think what I learned from this is that people really don't appreciate and they don't really know what athletes go through. Uh, that hurt really bad, and I think it affected me. And some people think you're just out there playing a game, but it can be dangerous. A contact sport can really cause some damage to you and have long-term effects. So that was my story.